Hi, this is Danieli Parker.
And this is Cristi Parsons, and we are
Perfectly Imperfect Principals. Okay.
You found a goodie.
I found a goodie.
Found a goodie.
So if you've followed us, you may know that I'm very big into ed technology. Been a director of instructional innovation and instructional technology as a principal. Leading with technology has always been something that's been one of my passions in every role I have taken in my journey in education. And actually last spring, I did an interview for the district I worked in, had a podcast with them, shocker, and had Carl Hooker, who is big in the ed tech world, does a lot with blended learning. I had him actually get on and we talked about screen times. This is a hot topic across many states. If you've not heard of it yet, it's coming. A lot of schools, even states, are putting restrictions on screen times. And what in the ed tech world, what we were seeing was a lot of discussion, but not any guidelines from the Department of Education. And Cristi, I actually woke up this morning, was going through my emails and just kind of seeing. And of course, I read a lot of articles and subscribe to a lot. And one article came out came out on August 20th. Department of Education issues long-awaited ed tech guidance for states and districts. So I'm super excited. We're finally getting some guidelines. And Cristi, I was really nervous before I opened this up because there have been some trends in some places to say we're going to put blanket limits on screen time. There will be no screen time in our buildings.
I've heard that.
Yes. And so I was very anxious to see what the Department of Education was going to say. And I was actually relieved in some ways because, and I'm just going to quote, technology use is purposeful, instructional, sound, and contributing to measurable student outcomes. The Assistant Secretary of Elementary and Secondary Education, Kristen Basler, in the Dear Colleague letter that was sent out. Responsible design is the floor. Not only do we need to know if the tool works, but if it works, why does it work? For whom does it work? And under what conditions? And so it's not just about screen time. It's about the tools that we're using.
And the outcomes of that.
And the outcomes of it. And so some of the guidance that they put in there is, and I think this is so important. We can't just say no technology because
that's not even, we cannot.
That's not reasonable.
No, our kids need technology.
And it's not, I'm going to say the word fair. Nothing is fair in this world, but it's not fair to some of our kids because technology opens doors for some of our kids that a traditional non-tech classroom doesn't offer. And I speak with passion about that because I'm a mom of a child that has the opportunity to have the brain that is a little dyslexic.
Yes.
And so note-taking and things like that are very challenging with paper, pencil. But give them a computer and they're going to be able to show you what they know. So you can't just say no technology because we're closing doors then.
And we're going to get behind in this world. I mean, our world is like going so fast with technology. No, technology has to be a part of our classrooms.
But I loved that. Distinguish between recreational and instructional technology. And there is a difference.
Yes.
I have gone into classrooms and I have seen where students are going to what are considered educational websites. They're games.
They're games.
There's no education.
They're recreational.
They're playing the game and they've learned to play the game. They're playing games that they already know the skills. So it's not reinforcing a skill that they needed help with. But I've also walked into classrooms where students are using an educational technology tool and it is reinforcing. They are having meaningful practice with the skill that they needed. It is a meaningful tool. And so if we go into that same classroom and say no tech time, okay, well, the student that was just doing gaming, you're right, that wasn't useful use of their time. But the student that was using a tech tool that was reinforcing their learning was helping them grasp those concepts. Now we've taken that away from them.
Right.
And there needs to be a serious conversation. What tech tools do we have? Is that recreational?
Or is that instructional?
And if we need to set limits on recreational time, all for that.
Yes.
Like, absolutely. But if it's actually being used for instruction, then I think we need to sit down and have a conversation. And it's very hard to have a conversation if there's a blanket thou shalt not use technology at all.
Right. But I also think this goes back to collaboration because Daniele, we're on the same team and you do use technology so well instructionally. I mean, it's just like a gift to you. You don't have to think about it. It's a struggle for me, right? So if we don't have those conversations also as a team about what this tool is for this lesson, then my students are probably going to have more of a recreational time than your students not because I want to be detrimental to their learning, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to create that instructional space for it.
And I think that brings up a great conversation. There's a teacher I absolutely adore in my previous district. I'll maybe we can have her come on at some point. But her name is Rhonda House, and she teaches geography.
We love you, Rhonda.
Miss you, Rhonda. I'm just going to start singing that song. But I love collaborating with Rhonda because technology made her nervous, but she was willing to try it.
Yes.
And I'll never forget, she's like, okay, Danielle, I have a project where my kids make a postcard. They research and they study about a specific country or region, and then they create a postcard and they have to include all these components on the postcard. She says, but I am trying to integrate some technology. So we came up with, I think they ended up doing maybe Google Slides. I think she even branched out before and has used Canva. But we said, okay, what is it that you want kids to walk away with? What is the outcome of this assignment? Like, what is the learning you want to take place? And we had to establish that because that has to be across the board with whatever choice that she was going to give her students. And then, okay, so we know that they have to be able to do these things in this project. And this is what you want them to learn. So we identified the student learning. And then, okay, what are the different tools they can use to be able to produce that you're okay with?
I think of it like a vehicle, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the vehicle I'm going to use to produce the product of my learning?
Absolutely. And then her kids had a choice. And some kids wanted to draw and make the postcard. Other kids wanted to make the Canva. Other kids wanted to do the slides. And so when she realized that she didn't have to create the templates, she didn't have to create everything from scratch.
The students can do it. Yeah.
The students did it. And when she saw that, they took off and they were creating things that we're like, how did you do that? Show me how you did that.
Yes.
We were learning from them, but she gave them the opportunity, and it wasn't recreational technology use. They were really using it for learning. And I think, again, that goes beyond just screen time. It was really giving them an opportunity to show their thinking in a different way. And so in our planning, when we're collaborating, Cristi, I love what you said. There are some people that love technology and there are others that do not. They're allergic to it. They rather do anything but. I need people like Cristi in my life to be like, okay, here are some non-tech ideas. But then Cristi's in the world need Daniele's in the world to say, okay, here's some tech ideas and here's how we can do that. Yes. And I will send you the link where the kids, you don't have to do anything, but just put it in your Google Classroom. It'll force them to make a copy of it and you're good to go. But we can collaborate on that because I agree, Cristi. I think sometimes teachers that are using technology for recreational, if you really look and see what's happening in the classroom, it's recreational. They may just not feel comfortable or know other ideas.
That's right. Yeah.
So that goes
collaboration's huge around that.
Collaboration and training.
And training, yes.
And that was something else they talked about is training. It's not just giving tools to teachers and saying, hey, here's the tool. It's actually training the teachers on how to use these tools. And I think that is a key piece that's missed because you know what, Cristi? A lot of administrators right now, if you look back in August, you had very little time with your staff.
Right.
And think about how many new tools. Even if it's one new tool that was shared out, you may have a couple of go-getters that are comfortable with it, that are running with it right now. How are you going to empower those that have learned it and are using it to now spread that out across their teams? Because not everybody are going to take the initiative or find it a priority to learn more about that program because they're overwhelmed with so many other things. So how can we train our staff differently?
Right.
So that
and then follow up with support.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I notice you're not using this tool, and so tell me why.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right? And so it's a lot of it's fear of, and you really can't mess up, but you really can't mess it up. Just try it. Just try it. I want your opinion on this because it does talk, even the second bullet says evaluate ed tech on outcomes and instructional value, not just screen time. So I want to talk to you about this because this is something that is, I just want your opinion. I see a lot of schools, and I'm not going to name the thing that they're implementing, but it says they have to have a certain amount of time on this program. And they're doing it all the way to kindergarten. And it's like, when I tell you 20 minutes a day on a program, and they get in trouble if the district office sees that they're not meeting their time. So they're not even looking at outcomes, they're looking at time. And they even on the wall have the classes and how much time they've spent on this program. And what I found when I looked at the data, because I don't really care about screen time. When I looked at the data, I saw that the kids who were being punished the most through this program were the ones who already knew a lot of learning. And it was keeping them in the program for a long time because they kept mastering. And so they were never kicked out. They were having to stay in the program for hours to finish it.
So I think
I just want your opinion on that.
I'm going to use a quote actually from the guidance.
Thank you.
Educational value rather than screen exposure alone. We have to distinguish between the two. Mm-hmm. What are we actually getting out of this versus just the screen time? So it sounds like to me, in those situations, we're putting the focus on the time.
It very much so. And it's not with just one district. I'm seeing it in a lot of districts.
Oh, I've seen it in a lot too. Mm-hmm. And it's not...
forced time.
Yes, it's a forced time. So we're focusing the time, but we're not looking at our kids actually learning and growing. Right. And that's the question. If we have a student who has already mastered something, please, for the love.
Yeah, please do not.
Don't stick them on another tutoring online program. Like
they don't need it.
They need hands-on STEM projects. Yeah. They need real life application. Like let them soar. We're locking them into computer programs.
An intervention program.
That goes down to time. They don't need that screen time.
They really don't.
Or there may be something else that they could be doing on the screen that could be different. They're coding. There's all sorts of coding programs out there that in a math class would be great to push on, have students given the opportunity to spend more time learning about and diving into. And so, blanket times I've seen tutorial times where campuses have bent over backwards to build in campus-wide small group tutorial time. So this is a time where if students need tier 3, they can be pulled out, but then the other kids are left in the room and they're all on these devices.
All on computers.
And I'm walking in these rooms and I'm seeing
on
teachers.
YouTube. I'm telling you what they're on.
Teachers not necessarily working with kids or walking around checking to see how they're doing or assisting. I'm seeing teachers using it as another conference time. And one, that was never the intent of that time. Two, yes, teachers, I know you need other breaks. Like I know you need mental breaks.
Yes.
But that's a key time to be pulling kids and really targeting or extending. Like this is our opportunity that when we have kids have mastered things, that we always talk about the 4 big questions in a professional learning community. Question 4 is, what do we do for students who have already learned it? Sticking them on that computer during that time is not really extending their thinking. That's just busy work as a babysitter. And that's where I think a lot of this screen time debate is coming up, is because, okay, if you're using it as a babysitter, that's not good use of instructional time. And then so what we're going to do now is we're going to say, okay, no technology.
Yeah, we do not want to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
Let's not do that. Yeah. So here's another thing, and I want teachers to know that we hear them. All across the United States, I am hearing teachers say this is one of the number one problems. Kids are so gifted at technology and getting around firewalls. And they're like, when I do want to use a time for instructional purposes, it bites me in the booty because while I'm over here talking, then these are going against a firewall and they know how to close tabs and hide tabs and they're getting in things they're not supposed to. So I you know me, I don't know how to help the teachers on this one, but it is an issue, right? And so, because these kids can crack codes to get through firewalls now.
Well, they're
amazing.
Well, I'm sure you will never guess which one of my 3 kids came into my office last year and said, hey, Mom, He's like, I think you can find it on YouTube how to get around this. And he gets on my computer and wants to start searching YouTube to figure out how to get around our school firewall. I was like, stop it. And I'm like going straight to my the other tech director. And I'm like, hey, my kid is trying to get around the firewall. I'm like, can you put like a notice on it or something? Like,
yes.
But yes, Cristi, like they know. And yes, there are probably YouTube videos that teach them how to do those things. But that is the other thing is if a student, think about in your classroom, if you have a student that is doing, for in elementary or in middle school, maybe that they can't handle group work, right?
Right.
They can't. You don't take away group work from everybody, do you?
No, we do not.
You may have
such a good example.
Yeah, you don't take away all the group work opportunities because one or two kids can't handle that.
That child is not allowed to do group activities.
That child has to have
on it.
Specific lessons or specific coaching to help them learn how to work with a group. Our goal is to get them in a group.
Right. But we may have to take them out for a little bit.
But we may have to take them out. The same thing with technology. If they can't use it responsibly, we can't punish everybody else in the class.
That's right.
We have to then say, okay, so we're going to have to do something. There was a teacher I had when I was a principal in a neighboring district, and we actually had the opportunity to have a certified teacher be our computer lab teacher, and she was phenomenal. And the first couple of weeks of school was all about digital citizenship, and kids had to earn their digital driver's license. And if they were found not using technology correctly, then they would lose their digital driver's license.
Suspended
They would have to do special courses, special lessons, and then to earn their driver's license back.
Makes so much sense.
So I hear the same thing, Cristi. Kids are figuring out ways to go around the firewalls. And I've met with so many different companies, and they are working hard. Now, a lot of programs, teachers can monitor. You can have it on your screen, but you don't really want to be behind your desk, right? So, but there are ways to monitor that, to block that. Where when you see that and you can identify those things. But I think it's absolutely critical that we don't limit everybody because
of one or two students. Right. Know those students. And I love that. Just at this point right now, you're not using technology in the way that I want you to use it. So your time is suspended for a little bit while I teach you appropriate ways to
and we've taken away kids' opportunities. We've given them devices that they couldn't get on the internet. Like they could only get on Word or Excel or slides. So you're still going to do the learning. It's just you're going to have to use one of these other alternate tools because you have shown us that you have not earned the opportunity yet to get on the internet to use your learning. You will have to go through this avenue. And your tech departments, they typically will work with you on that and help you find an alternate. But I think it's absolutely critical that we don't take away the technology from everybody, because what's going to happen is if we then take that away, then we are putting our kids at a disadvantage to compete in a global market.
That's right.
It's not that we're just creating
and trust
kids.
me, I have a 24-year-old son. We cannot do that.
No, because our kids aren't competing just with their neighbors in the same town anymore or the same state or across the state. It's across the world. And so that was something that was brought up in this article, was that the relief that there is now at least a baseline guidelines, because we need to have some consistency across our nation. No matter what state you're in, you're going to have opportunities to learn about technology and use technology, because we do want to prepare our kids to be able to compete in a global market, but taking it away. So if you have tech tools, administrators, your teachers are going to come to you and say, hey, we found this really cool website and they do all these great things, and you're trying to make them happy. The thing that you need to make sure is, one, check with your tech department, doesn't meet the regulations and safety and security guidelines that they have. But then two, what is it students are going to learn from this, and how are we going to be able to monitor and ensure that they are getting the intended learning outcomes from this program? And, Cristi, that was one of the things I liked about these guidelines, is it was really talking about the ed tech vendors. There's guidelines and there's some guidance on what they need to be able to do with schools as well. This. Yeah. So
it's a good article.
It was a great one. It was so timely. And you know what, administrators and teachers, this really made me think about the word blended learning.
Yes.
We've got to get back and do training on what is blended learning. Blended learning is not just putting technology in the classroom for the sake of putting technology, but it's truly using it as a tool to help students in their learning journey. It's not the substitute. It's not the replacement for instruction. It's just a tool that we use along our journey that I think sometimes gets abused.
Yes. So we were going to take the time to learn about the new guidelines and then also talk to each other, collaborate. What is it? What is it that's getting our way? What is it that's helping us? And then where do we want to keep our focus in our technology world to make sure it is a tool? Danielle, that was so good. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
All your knowledge of that.
I'm so excited. So thank you for finally having guidelines, because I can say from previously being in a district, it's very hard when there are no guidelines.
Right.
So I'm sure I haven't been able to talk to my other tech director friends, but now that's kind of a relief that there is the conversation, and it's not, let's take out all the devices.
Yes. Which we're glad. Thank you for coming and listening. We would love to hear your comments. And if you don't mind, subscribe and like. Remember to embrace your imperfections and celebrate your wins.
Until next time.